Hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the Kryptonite Show. Your house Superman and the house Superman. We got some jig, some technology troubles. Okay, I hope you guys are doing well on the weekend. It was a late one last night, so party time. Hope you guys are enjoying it out there. We got a little bit of a bounce in the old crypto market today, and we're gonna have a bit of fun today. In the show. Hope you guys enjoy it. So we're going to kick it off with the crypto majors and see how we're calming down. You know, after you have a massive re-rate from 73,500 Bitcoin down to 59,000, and then bouncing back over 60K, there's a lot of trauma in the market, right? A lot of trauma in the market. We also seen a lot of so-called Bitcoin hodlers sell in the bearish conditions. I don't know. Is that one of the bottom signals? I don't know. What you decide, what you think about that. But it is pretty crazy. Anyway, let me get to the show, and I'm going to pin that to the top there. If you guys are just beginning to watch the Kryptonite Show, obviously the largest Pulse Chain influencer doing daily live streams virtually every day. And then hit the follow button on the way in on X, and don't forget to hit the repost. If you're on YouTube, we're streaming on 3 YouTube channels. Don't forget to smash the follow button as well, and we'll have a fun time in the show, I'm sure. So that should be pretty good. Now let's just quickly have a check out here, make sure everything is running smoothly on the tech, and then we'll move on. All right, looks like things are moving. So cool, let's do it. Got a bit of a scrolling there, so hopefully we've got not too many internet issues. Let us know in the house there. Let me quickly check YouTube. I've got a few issues with the studios, so we're going to make sure everything is up and running before we get too far ahead of ourselves. Looks like things are going, so have a look there. If you are new to the channel, don't forget into the comment section as well. Say hello. That always helps me know that things are running okay. Looks like we've got not too bad. Let me just quickly check here. No, still got to wait for that too. All right. Well, we're kicking under gear. Let's kick it under gear. Let's see. We got any notifications? We do. But it's not for the wrong thing. For the wrong thing. All right. Let's see. I'm going back down, scrolling down here. We're going to have a look at some of the posts that I did yesterday. I've been putting a lot more information posts around Pulse Chain just to contribute to informing people. Yeah, looks like YouTube's okay. Looks like everything is running well. So if you guys are new to the channel, get on there, folks. Get into the comments and let's go. Let's have a look at the total markets and where we are after that absolute sell-off from Monday to Friday. Now we're going to look at the crypto majors, particularly Bitcoin. We're going to look at the power law. It's probably been the best model, tracking Bitcoin, and we're right at the power law floor. So is that going to hold? I think it's been a while since I studied the power law, but I think it's something like 99% of price information, standard deviation, something like that. And so, yeah, it should hold. We'll see what happens moving forward. It's holding at the moment. We're right at the bottom of it. We've been there before, but it's held pretty well. So we're going to hold on to that and see how it goes from here. Or whether the bears win out and completely go to another level. We'll see. We're going to look at that. So far, it's holding, guys. That's all you can say. We're going to be checking out Pulse Chain as well, of course. The overall numbers for Pulse Chain. Top performer today at the moment is P2C the Greys. So one of our biggest communities. That's back on the move in the top. It's been a while, actually. And then we've got some big news, of course, from Liberty Swap. Coming up with the HyperMarkets launching for June, just ahead of the World Cup. So then, no doubt, they're working very hard this weekend to get it out, and that is a top-tier protocol on Pulse Chain launching, and that is powered by Hyperliquid, essentially technology. It's exciting times, but there are other big tokenization projects launching this week, which are the market leaders. So Liberty Swap joining good company there, and I'm excited for where they're heading. They're taking Pulse Chain into the future. With the cutting edge DeFi, and that's exciting, right? That's why we want to live. And so, price might be down, but actually value and utility is being built out on the chain. And I think that we're going to very much maybe not a payment chain, but more of a revenue chain, a DeFi chain. I think that's where we're heading. I don't know whether Ethereum has decided whether it's going to payment chain or revenue chain, but that's definitely in conversation, I would say. And maybe Tom Lee, with his leadership and financial support with the big digital asset treasuries announced this last week, I think it was, for the ETH Foundation and all the projects that come out of that for upgrading. It'll be interesting to see which direction they go in Visa payment rails, and that's what Tom Lee's kind of indicated, right? If we get payment rails, we could go to 60 to 250k over the next 10 years, and 60k maybe on the early side, 3 to 5 year range. So if that's the case, if that's where he's wanting to hit it, and he's got to help make that happen, right? Bring the institution over corporates over that are going to help make that happen. So there's lots of big sort of vision direction discussions going on between payment rail and revenue, and of course there's always crossover, but those are kind of two different major paths, and it decides a lot on the vision of where Ethereum's going, and hence where Pulse Chain's going to a much degree, because we get all the free upgrades, right, including quantum proof by 2029. So that's some of the headline stuff. Let's get into the detail though, and see where we head. And we're going to talk about some of the big variables in June. We always knew June was going to be a troublesome month, but of course it's been much bigger than people could have imagined. So let's jump into the marks there. And we got the market cap is actually up 0.6% today. So I'm glad to report that we got a green day after the carnage of Monday to Friday. Yep. I guess it's crazy week. I mean, what a retrace it was, but we've seen it before, but this particularly was a big one. But we are up 0.6%, guys, at $2.19 trillion. Remember how small that market is, and that the target that people have been talking about, over the next sort of 5 to 10 years is $100 trillion market. So, 50x from here, guys, virtually 50x from here. So you just got to bide your time. At the moment, of course, Bitcoin up 0.7%, so I'm glad to report that too. Is at $61,228. But look at that weekly down, 17.2% for the last week. 17.2%, some pretty significant retrace there. Ethereum there at the moment up 0.7%, slightly better than Bitcoin, very slightly, at $1,584. So we're really down at that next level for Ethereum, right? We talked about some time ago after the February low, and here we are down 21.8%. So a big wipeout there of the Ethereum value. And of course, the build out continues. Like the fundamentals are hyper bullish, but a value there doesn't necessarily follow, right? We know that in markets. Markets have got lots of variables that will move it around. BNB up 0.3% and is down 20% for the week. So not quite as bad as Ethereum, sitting at $577 at number 4. Just before we move on, actually, from BNB, yesterday the market caps for Tether and Ethereum, because ETH was down even further and the risk on for Tether was even bigger, it actually flipped Ethereum for a little while during the day. So that was an interesting thing. We've seen it before, but that's pretty interesting. Risk off, I should say, and Tether flipped Ethereum in number 2. USDC. Let's go to XRP at number 6, up 1.3%. So far the best performer out of the top 10. That is still down 17%, 17.1% for the week. So it is the best in the top 6, sitting at $1.11. Solana number 7 is down 0.5%. So no green recovery at all so far today for Solana, and it's still down 23.5%. And typically has been a big leverage on the old crypto. It is down to 23.5% today at $63.23. Tron at number 8, normally a much smaller range after counter moves to the others, is up 1.2%. It's down only 6.5% for the week. So if you're in Tron, you're probably not too unhappy, are you? You're only down 6%. I mean, that's just a day in the office. But when you're down 20%, that's a different story, right? Different story. So Tron there is sitting at 32.4 cents. Number 10 is Hyperliquid, still holding on to number 10 ahead of a Dogecoin, but not by much. And earlier today, I'm pretty sure Dogecoin actually slipped in back into number 10. I think that did occur after Hyperliquid flipped it about a week or so ago. But Hyperliquid is down 2.7% in the last 24 hours. And of course, that is one of the hot marketplaces on the with perpetuals on the blockchain, right? 24/7 trading, and a lot of TradeFi has been using it to de-risk. Remember, during the Iranian conflict, it was the big choice that they made to use Hyperliquid because they didn't have access to 24/7 trading during the weekend and stuff. So Hyperliquid, got a big lift there, and of course that is leading technology in the perpetual space and stuff. And it's kind of converged a lot of things, and it's in the right time at the right place in the market. It is down 3%, 16% for the week, so still better than all the other top 10. It's only down 16%, but down 2.9% today. Not yet green, but we could see it recover in the next few hours. We'll see it. Keep a lookout for that as Bitcoin tries to hold over 61K. So that's Hyperliquid at $57.85. So sitting at 12.9 billion market cap, and you can see it's only 70 million ahead of Dogecoin, right? Dogecoin there. All right, so let's go to the top 100. Top 100, we've got Lab up 59% today. So there are some green ones in the top 100 if you happen to be in the right ones. Beat has been rising over the last sort of day or so, and particularly is up 34% for the day, 170% for the week. Siren up 18% today. Binance Life up 17%, and a ton or Telegram there up 14%. So not too bad on the move there. All right, so let's have a look at the top 100 for the week. We've got Adira Beat being a rising star in the last day or two, up 107%. Humanity Digital ID, 82% there. Siren up 80%. Lab up 78%. And Binance Life up 59%. But interesting enough, at number 6 is WorldCoin, another digital ID, up 32% for the week. So those are some of the key ones that have been on the move. And if I go back to market cap just quickly, and we'll just go through a few here. And obviously some of the hot properties when Bitcoin was going down, but they did capitulate on Thursday, Friday. They were actually doing pretty well, counter moving to Bitcoin as it was sliding Monday to Wednesday, a bit into Thursday. Well, Hyperliquid was counter moving, right? But that has ended, as you can see in the charts there. That is number 10. What else was some of the ones that we saw moving, counter move? Interesting enough, it keeps going down. Hedera was doing a little bit of a move. That is certainly moved down. And let's have a look at what else. Near Protocol was counter moving. That obviously pulled down, only down 14% for the week, but still down 3.3% at the moment. Let's see what else was kind of moving, counter move. If I remember, Ondo, of course, we're going to talk about that shortly. That was only down 13% for the week. Hasn't turned green yet, but Ondo there got big news coming up this week, right? WorldCoin, of course, was one of those as well that I remember. ICP, I think ICP made a little bit of a move. Can't remember 100%. We'll see who else. I've already mentioned some of the others that have already been moving quite big. Dixie was kind of making a bit of a move, had a bit of controversy too, but that is generally up over the week and over the day. So Dixie doing pretty well. What else is going on here? Let's scroll down. Just trying to pick off some of the names I remember were kind of moving up. There was probably about 4 or 5 of them, or Bitcoin is moving down. I think those are the main ones there. And of course, we've covered the other big ones that moved over the last week. Over the top 1,000 movers, Splendor, Sky AI, and Alero there, all up, huge numbers, 84% to 84%. Those are trending right now, so we're not going to get into the deep dive of that, but that's on the move. Trending overall is Pudgy Penguins, Bitcoin, and Lab. Those are all trending. Lab, of course, up 60% at the moment. So those are some of the hot movers. We've got GG and Hexkin in the house there. Welcome. Superman in the house. He is indeed. I'm broke, been DCA for years now. Yeah, well, you're not the only one there, GG Hexkin. DG and Hexkin. I'm having a bit of a speech problem today. I don't know what's going on. Ping Seal, says DG and Hexkin. Ping Seal, indeed. I'm not sure what that means, but we'll go for it. We'll go with it. Maybe you can explain. Don't forget to get in the chat there, folks, and don't forget to subscribe on the way in. Smash the follows. All right, so that is the overview of the crypto market. So we've got a bit of a cool off. But 17% down on Bitcoin, and 20+% down on some of the altcoins is traumatizing, and that's what happens. The market gets traumatized. It seems to have cooled off and steady at the moment, and of course there is the bears are out now with their knives going, will we go down to 53K or something like that? There's even the real doomsdayers about going back down to 30K or something ridiculous. Of course, that would destroy the power law. We'll keep a lookout for that. At the moment, we're at the floor price, so we're going to come up to that later. Let's get into Bitcoin now. Bitcoin chart here on the daily. You can see the carnage in red. It was truly beautiful. Not very nice, but beautiful in terms of the absolutely bloodshed there. I don't know if that's beauty. Is that a beauty? I guess it's just damn ugly, isn't it? Damn ugly. But down 20%. It was in 4 days, guys. 4 days, or 5 days, I should say. 5 days, down 4%. What am I saying? Man, I'm really messing up today. 5 days, down 20%. How's that? Is that better? 5 days, down 20%. I got to really concentrate on my pronunciation here. So yeah, it is pretty crazy, and that is equivalent to $15,000. So pretty crazy time. Went essentially from about 73.5 or 74K all the way down to 59K, and that's a lot of market trauma. And of course, the main culprit has been deemed to be. We also saw a sell-off on the Friday. There was obviously record highs during the week, Monday to Thursday on the stock market. Sell-off on Friday. And of course, we saw the big wick there on Friday for Bitcoin. And the idea is that there's a lot of sell-off going on and rotation into AI, and also for the SpaceX IPO coming up. So that's kind of been the main theme of that. Certainly a lot of market manipulation goes on whenever you have these moves. You get market manipulation, and then you can get cascading flow-ons, right, where you get large short positions taking place and helping the market go down, right? We did see a lot of the ratio from, this is not to do with the capital exposure, in other words, the open interest and particularly shorts for the markets, but we saw the ratio of the smaller, not smaller class, but kind of the retail play, the ratio from longs to shorts actually grow. In other words, a lot of the believers trying to defend the chart there as it's going down, take opportunity. But of course, down it's gone. So, between market manipulation, profiteering for getting capital for the, AI and particularly SpaceX IPO coming up, and the shorts, you get all this carnage going on in the markets, right? And then we saw a lot of so-called Bitcoiners, sell all their bags, and some big whales, well-known names, and all that sort of stuff jump on. So this becomes this cascading waterfall, and so we have 5 days of carnage. That's pretty much it. We have rebounded a little bit here, so that was the good news. So we rebounded 59, and we're back up here at the moment at up 3.5%, $2,000 back up. So that's good news. That's good news there. Let's go to the daily. We're on the daily, sorry. Let's have a look at the averages. 50 moving average at $73,172. The 200 moving average, remember we got rejected at 8,200. Remember that back up here? 8,200, 200. We got rejected at the 200. That has come all the way down. 8,200 has come all the way down now to 79,900. So, in the sense of when we move back further, that's a little bit easier target to meet. Obviously, if we start rising, that's going to raise again, depending on how low it gets. But that is where we are, 79,900 on the 200 moving average daily. Let's go to long horizons to see where the market's kind of benchmarking long term. Well, on the weekly at the moment, we've got the 200 weekly average at 68,843. People talking about us defending that. Well, obviously we didn't defend that, right? We went all the way down another 9K below that. 50 a day is at 83,800. And so, it's still pretty high there, but the 200 day in the orange there at 68,800, and we breached that, of course. Let's have a look at the monthly and go to the real long view now. Obviously, the monthly there, we can see we're still in the uptrend. We've had a very little opportunity here, between June 22 and January 23. We're below the 200 moving average, and then essentially we had a rally above that. I still don't think we're at the banana curve. I think that's ahead of us, right? The banana part, the big hyper rally, this part here, that's still ahead of us. See this move to 126 only as the the sort of bear market rally, and that we're going to have a big power move to the upside. Now, we've got some challenges to that in the short term, and we'll talk about that when we come up to it in a minute. Maybe we're going to get to Ethereum. So that's kind of where we are right now, 61.2. Now, the question is, are we going to hold this? And of course, the power law has suggested that we can. Not only the power law, but if you look at the chart here, we've got this horizontal support too, right? So we previously had resistance up at this range, exactly where we are now, the 60K mark, plus or minus, 1 or 2,000. And then we had a lot of support in that range with volatility, and then back up. This goes all the way back to March 21, the last bull market, right? So that is pretty huge. And we've also got the monthly moving average for 50 monthly moving average at 66,000, which is only 4,000 above or 5,000 above where we are right now. So that's kind of the logic there. So how long will we stay below the moving average here? We've pierced it twice in the last wee while. Now I'm quite bullish after July in the market. That being said, it will also depend on these big IPOs. These big IPOs are going to cause us a bit of volatility. We're already seeing that with the SpaceX one coming up next Friday on the 12th. And then we've got these, at least two big AI, OpenAI coming up, and so we've got these big IPOs that are $1 trillion IPOs, all wanting to raise like $70-80 billion. And then we've got probably another 7 other reasonably large IPOs coming up before the end of the year, all sucking capital, all sucking the air out of the room, as they say, or capital from the markets into these big giant, not only into the big giant AIs, the Magnificent Seven and others, particularly the semiconductors, but also into these AI software companies. And it's a lot of capital to be taken in. Now, the only upside to that is that the addressable market for those are potentially huge, right? And that is AI has to spread throughout all of our society, all of our industrial civilization, right? And so that's a big multi-year process, and it's going to take a lot of energy and a lot of power compute, and that's why SpaceX proposition has got the biggest addressable market in the world, something like $28.5 trillion, that almost the size of the US economy at $29.5 trillion. And that means that if they launch at $1.8 trillion on Friday next week, then over the years they could ramp it up to 10 to 15, $20 trillion company and be the biggest company of the world, particularly with compute satellites up in the space about 300-400 kilometers, and they're looking up to 1 million of those, and they're bigger than Starship, each of them bigger than Starship with their solar panel arrays. So we're really entering a new age. It's going to be pretty taking a lot of capital to do that, and that's the big thing, right? That's the big thing. They are easier to do than communication satellites, but still a lot of capital there. But it's going to be pretty crazy to see that all play out. So typical thing. And so, but Bitcoin still has all the main catalysts, fixed supply, all the rest of it. And everything else is essentially inflating, right? Essentially inflating. Even the IPOs are an inflation of new capital required, right? So new shares issued. It's all additional tokens, for example. So here we are at 61,261, and so we're going to see how long we last in here. Obviously, we've also got a number of catalysts like the Federal Reserve. We're obviously having really good economic data, so we're having good GDP data, good employment data. And at the moment, we're getting inflationary pressures from the oil, adjustments in the oil. There's new trade flows in oils, particularly into the US, benefiting. And we've also got that conflict still not a deal being done. Hints are being made that it's getting closer, but that's not there yet, right? So we'll just see how that goes. And that potentially has an inflationary pressure. Now, that said, of course, we've got this counter move, right? Because AI is coming. AI is cutting costs and improving productivity. And that's dramatic, especially in the US economy. And therefore, that could cause a deflation event. And that's what we're expecting to see, massive deflation going out of the economy. So we're going to have a very bullish environment where we have continued economic growth and employment in new areas, supportive areas, and of course, a lot of traditional areas getting the costs taken out, potentially employment being adjusted or moved out of there, and we are moving into a high productive, lower cost environment. We'll actually see prices go down as GDP expands, only because supply is expanding. And the only reason why supply is expanding is because Trump is supporting all the supply expansion, right? The Democrats did not support supply expansion. They were actually trying to basically destroy the US economy by making it contract, and then, of course, ruling the ashes and transferring power to the United Nations, right? That's kind of the general thing that they were doing, and they get paid for doing it, right? As it goes. So that's kind of the stuff that we're having going on. But now we have supply expansion is very key. The new Fed chair coming in, Walsh, is also believer in supply expansion and GDP growth, right? So we've got a change in point of view, and I think much better expertise to lead the Fed. And he will have his first test coming up in the next meeting. So we're going to watch out for that and any forward statement that he adds. Now, we may not get an interest rate cut then because obviously inflation is a little bit higher now, but I suspect that if we base it on the true inflation measure and not the CPI or CPE, that's closer to 1.2%, 1.3%. So I think we're going to get the downside of inflation. It's going to shock the market later this year. That could be as early as later this year. So we're going to keep a lookout for that. So I think a lot of bullish stuff there. I think the Fed's still going to be bullish by the end of the year. So I'm still expecting bullish run up. We're seeing GDP and economic growth and employment surprise the upside. In fact, big time. And I think that's going to start accelerating away. And so, we've only got the Storner side, but the IPOs are also after a lot of capital. Bitcoin's after capital. IPOs are after a lot of capital. So that's going to be a big challenge. Now, that being said, we've got SpaceX IPO next Friday. So is this week coming up going to be more carnage for Bitcoin? Is it going to break the power law? We're going to see. And of course, or have we settled here at the moment? So kind of interesting. Now, we also had the digital asset treasuries playing their part. They've been doing a great job. They've been offering preferred equity through a number of companies like Strategy with Stretch, Strive with SATA, and they've been doing terrific results. Now, obviously, it's Stretch's turn this week coming up to raise capital. So they've got just a couple of days there, 5 days or so. We got 12, 13, 14. Yeah, got 5 days to raise capital. I don't think that they may not move back to parity because I think they're sitting at about $94. They need to get to like $100. They need to get back to parity, and I don't think we're going to get there until possibly the last 3 days, and then maybe we'll get FOMO. So that's what I'm expecting. Now, obviously, we've had the Bitcoin carnage, but if Bitcoin can kind of stay steady and their SpaceX IPO doesn't, impact more, I mean, this is a big ask, right? I'm not saying that it's the most probable event, maybe 30% chance. Then we will see if we can get back to parity and we can get a couple $1 billion raised from the debt markets. Remember, this is very different from the equity markets, and the debt markets are after yield. Then and they're not too shaken by the Bitcoin coming down. Then that could be pretty positive. Now, arguably, they would see that Michael Saylor's 32 Bitcoin sell is actually a positive because it just shows you that yield can be paid, in the sense. So because you want to pay yield not out of the common stock MSTR, but out of Bitcoin gain, right? So that your Bitcoin gain is net accretive and tax efficient and optimal. Then you're a smart player, and any debt people wanting to take out debt would really like that, right? So we've got two different classes of people, or three at the moment. We've got the retail buying these preferred equity products for high yield, for retirement particularly, and income. And then we have specialty companies like Strive and other third layer protocols buying up the assets to offer their own exotic yields. And then we also have the typical institution corporates that are coming to buy it for the yield for their debt side, right? Much easier for a CFO to pick up, Stretch and SATA and get that higher yield than 2 to 4%. They're getting, 11 to 13%. It's much better for them. So we got that playing out as well. And so we're getting, last time we got about $2 billion, bought about 25,000 Bitcoin. And of course, that would be beautiful buying power right now, right? So as Bitcoin's all the way down to 61K, you're going to get way more Bitcoin if you can raise the equivalent amount of 2 billion. So we've got that coming up this week. And so Wednesday to Friday is really the key to look at that. And back to the Fed, we've got the CPI coming out on Wednesday. So we've got a big week ahead of us, guys. A lot of variables, a lot of moving parts, both bullish and bearish against the old Bitcoin. And who will win? Who will win? Will capital flows from equity win, or will the debt market raising win? And what will the net effect of that be on Bitcoin? So you can see it's going to be a pretty crazy week this week coming up. Now, we've also got later in June, of course, we've got the process of the Clarity Act and the Bitcoin Act moving through, and those are both bullish if they go through. But of course, will we get them through? That's the question. We're going to get enough Democrat votes. We need, I think, about maybe seven votes there to get that through. We had 2 Democrats in the Senate committee, financial committee there support it. We obviously get the AG committee support it. Those are all being combined, including some technical adjustments for the Genius Act from last year and a few other things. So that's going to hit the floor. It goes to a vote. Are we going to get the 60 votes we need? Question mark there. So I think we need possibly 7 votes there, and we'll see how we go. Maybe we need only 5. Maybe we need 5 but it's going to be a battle towards the end there. Now, so that is coming up, and hopefully we'll get it done by 4th of July. Otherwise, it could be deferred for a long time. And if we lose if the Republicans lose the House or something like that during the midterms, which doesn't look certain at all, but if that did occur, then up we go. Now, two things leading into the midterms will be in November. Will be obviously inflation and economic welfare and perception. So if inflation does come down, that's a bullish for the Republicans. If GDP, of course, and employment keep growing like they are, that's bullish for the Republicans. And then perception is key, right? Are they well aware of that? Do have a good sense of that? And so that's going to be important too. And of course, as long as the Iranian issue is sort of subsiding, we see the market is kind of pricing that in, right? We've come down from the highs of $110, $112 down into sort of early 90s range. Still got about a 50% premium, but that has definitely waned with I guess, relative peace. I know there's bombs going off here and there, but relative peace to what it was. Will a deal be done, or will the terrorist regimes can just string things along and then maybe force the hand? That would change things very dramatically. So we'll see how things going with that. All right, so that is the old Bitcoin. I'm pretty sure we went through everything. We're obviously getting good stuff too. We're looking at stuff with the government's deficits versus GDP getting under 5%, at least for a period of time. That's another area that's pretty interesting, and the market could see that as positive too. And then we've got a lot of tax refunds coming into the consumers as well. So more money coming in, flowing in from that. So a number of variables going on here with the old market. So, but this week coming up, as I said, pretty interesting. SpaceX IPO, debt money raisings from a strategy with Michael Saylor. This is a big deal. This is a big defining moment, actually. In the midst of a big contraction in Bitcoin, will we raise a couple $1 billion by Friday? And will that be used to buy Bitcoin? And we could end up buying, I don't know what, if it's going to be 30,000 Bitcoin or more. That'd be beautiful for the buying of the market and taking it off weekends. So we've been seeing this mega theme where individuals hold the large part of Bitcoin. That's slowly, not slowly, it's actually been, decent pace, swapping over into institutional and corporates, more long-term holders, generally speaking, except for the ETFs, which we've seen big outflows over the last 2 weeks. And that's contributed to this down chart. And so, we're going to see a lot of the individuals that sold over the last week. We're going to see, that stuff become more solid as well. There's lots of these variables moving around, supply sinks, and of course, will Michael Saylor be able to buy, 30,000 Bitcoin this week? Big deal if he does. And then, of course, then we move into Strive, moving after the 15th. Strive will go into the daily dividend. Can you believe it? Daily dividend, a brand new product there, essentially daily dividend. Well, it's about $250 a year. I think it excludes weekends and holidays. So that's going to be huge too. They already did amazing last week. Last 2 weeks, they raised like 2,500 Bitcoin. I think they're going to run away with that, even with the Bitcoin pullback. And so that's going to be huge. And then we get into July if we get a successful vote, which I think it will be for Michael Saylor's strategy with Stretch, going from monthly to bi-monthly. That's going to increase the frequency, I would argue, and the total volume of capital raised from the debt markets. Remember, debt markets, 300 trillion, and these products are offering 11 to 13% versus 2 to 4%. It's kind of a no-brainer, right? A no-brainer. And of course, if people have enough confidence in the underlying collateral of Bitcoin, knowing that it does have this volatility, that will raise a lot of capital. So big week ahead, guys. And in addition to that, we're going to talk about tokenization. I'm going to hold that off until Pulse Chain. That's coming up this weekend as well. A lot of big players, as you guys know. The big themes for crypto are going to be in Ethereum. Particularly, we'll talk about that when we get there. All right, so that is Bitcoin. Let's look at the power law. We are holding here. I've just zoomed in on the power law. So if I zoom back out again, let's zoom back out again, and we'll go to the full power law. That's a power law there all the way back to 2011. You can see that the power law has held up very well, guys. It has called the bottom essentially, or at least it's modeled the bottom based on real data. It's probably a better way, and you can see that it has kept in line very well. And here we are back again on the support line here for the power law here. So we're going to zoom in on that briefly and have a look at that. You can see we're right on it right now, right on it. Is that crazy? It's always scary when you get on the support line. but it's also, I guess, supposed to give you some confidence that maybe the bottom's in as we move up to the upside. And we're getting this mega theme where Bitcoin swapping from individuals over to longer term hands, arguably. Not always. Obviously, ETFs can move in and out quite easy, but moving back up there. And we've also seen a lot of big whales with some big names sell their Bitcoin too. And so, are we going to defend this line and move on, right? So if we take, let me just get into the sort of exact area. A ninth will do it. So we've got the power law floor here at 58,784. Of course, we just hit 59, right? So we're just above that. In fact, we're at 61,500 right now. Will we hold on to that? The midpoint, the linear regression fit in the green is 165K, and the top resistance is at $582,000. So if we do get, shakeout in June, maybe the future IPOs aren't as volatile as the SpaceX one. We'll see. That's not a given. Obviously, AI and all that sort of stuff is huge. Now, I think there's a huge addressable market for all that, in terms of spreading AI and all the new technologies. But I also think that some of them, and we need a number of players to do that, but I also think some of them will end up underperforming and a lot of that money will be lost, right? You have failed entrepreneurship, and even though they're big companies, they may fail at certain areas as well. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see that risk play out there. And if we go all the way through, if we do get a bullish thing after June, after all these variables play out in June, we do get the Clarity Act in July. We get a better outlook for interest rates. And of course, everything else is going well, the economy and everything, it's all performing pretty well, productivity, employment, all that sort of stuff. Then maybe we get a nice bullish move there with supportive monetary policy, with supply expansion, right? And that's kind of key. Now, we do also, another variable I didn't mention is, of course, we've got the Japanese interest rate raise. They're currently, I think, around 1% or something like that. So pretty low compared to America, which is 3.75. But if they do get interest rate rise, it's going to be pretty negative. And we've had another number of countries that have got their exchange rates under pressure, and they've been selling, treasuries and gold and things like that to prop up their currencies. So we'll watch out and see how that plays out as well in June. So I just want to put that out there. It's always could be an issue. So the end of the year right now, let's get to the end of the year here. So we're going to take the 30th of December. We've got Bitcoin on the green line there at 200K. And I think that's a reasonable level that we could potentially hit by the end of the year. And even though we're down the power law now, you guys know we get the upside happens too, violently to the upside. So that keep a look out for that, particularly not in June. I'm not expecting in June particularly. But if we do get this, if we do get a successful stretch, capital raise, even though we're at the SpaceX IPO as a negative, we'll see how those things net out. Then that's going to be pretty positive, because if Michael Saylor's stretch buys another 25,000-30,000 Bitcoin this week, then all's forgiven, right? All's forgiven, and that's Bitcoin that's generally not going to see the light of day. He's going to sell a little bit of accretive Bitcoin for optimization, but optimization is a good thing. It's increasing the the satoshis per share, which is the new goal for a strategy, not just always the always buyer. We'll see a little bit of Bitcoin sold, but really we're going to see massive net gain and accumulation for the old strategy stretch there as they head towards 1 million Bitcoin. So that's kind of bullish there. So I'm pretty happy about that. I still think 250 by June next year is definitely on the cards. But look, it can even go above 200 if we do get up there, because we've got plenty of room there on the power law there. The top of the power law, the purple, is at 682. If we move further afield with a 12-month view, and we go to the end of June next year, Tom Lee had 250K. He's obviously a permabull. He's obviously the head of the digital asset treasury. He has a lot of insights into what's happening in the future because he's helping to make it happen. He's doing a lot of strategy stuff about bringing finance to Ethereum, and also obviously backing his positions. He also gets obviously financial incentivized from key milestones, right? Key milestones there. One, of course, he's getting paid 15 mil for hitting the 5% of the ETH supply, which is about 6 million ETH. He still needs about 600,000 ETH to get that. We got the top of the range there at 782. We got the midpoint at 233. I think this is all pretty reasonable, even with permittable Tom Lee. That's probably the area that we're moving into over the next 12 months is 200 to 250K. And we've got 233 as the power law there. And we hit the bottom here. Look, we've hit the bottom before, and up we go. So take of that what we will, but power law holding up at the moment, and let's see if it outdoes all the beers where we are with the price. So every time we've tried to touched it, we've come back, but we're still waiting for this banana part of the curve, this Raoul pull part, and that potentially could happen in the next 18 to 24 months, because that's when the finance and the mass adoption are expected to roll out from Tom Lee's work, right? So that's the whole positioning. We'll see how it plays out. Actuality meets the vision and the work. We've got Blair in the house. Hi all, good to see you, Blair. Welcome. So that's kind of the key pin there. Let's jump into Ethereum. Ethereum, of course, had obviously the similar pullback even more. Let's have a look at the price. We're up at $2,000. And then down we went all the way down to 1,500 bucks there. So $500 move down, 25%. We're only down at the moment $413. I recovered about 87 bucks, but we're down 20.6% right now over the last 6 days. Let's jump back into the bottom there. We're all the way down at 1,500, and we're back up at almost 1,600, $10 short. We're up 5.5%, 82 bucks. The daily chart here is showing the moving averages. So we've got the 50 moving average at 2,068. Got the 200 moving average is now down at 2,447. But you can see the 50-day moving average moved down dramatically with this massive price correction here. So that's there. Let's look at further afield as well. The weekly one here. Like I said, there's some bigger theme things to think about. Is ETH going to be a payment rail? Or Tom Lee's talked about that in his presentations, or is it going to be a revenue kind of DeFi model? I think that's where Pulse Chain is going to be, more of a DeFi revenue model. But this is Ethereum. What's Ethereum going to be doing? And of course, we will win when Ethereum wins as well. There's kind of this cross pollination of benefits, and of course we've got a few advantages up our sleeve when things do turn around. So we got the price here on the way down, big red candle with the old ETH. But look at this. So we have got a looming death cross coming up, unfortunately. So we've got the 50-day at 2,630. We've got the 200 EMA at 2,535. So obviously we need some green candles out the other side of July. So it's kind of the play. So that would be in this month here, in this sort of area here. Let's see what happens here. It could be a short-term dip. Sometimes the death crosses don't fully play out. They cross but get reverted. So we'll keep a lookout for that. Let's jump over to the monthly chart to have a look at the long-term view. And this is just the argument is that we're in a massive accumulation phase. Obviously, we've been rejected at 5K twice, all the way back since the last bull market in 21. We've had a little period here, extended period in 22, 23 under the 15-month moving average at 1,520 bucks, and then we've been over it most of the time. We had another little dip below that in early 25, and here we are at the beginning of 26. We've had essentially 5 months below the moving average. So what does that suggest? It's a good time to buy it, arguably, right? And therefore, you're going to have some easy money all the way back, arguably, to 5K. You just got to be patient. It's not a short-term trader point of view. It's really much a very large swing trade, and arguably back to 5K should be easy money. And of course, if we break 5K, which I think we will in the future, because we're bringing finance over and mass adoption through Mr. Beast, then it's game on, and that's when we start getting to some of the glory numbers of 12K up to 22K for Tom Lee's marks, which I think quite reasonable, depending on the percentage that Ethereum is re-rate relative to Bitcoin. And remember, the high for that was in 21. We were at 9%. So it would be, if it was 100K, we'd be at 9K. That's kind of the logic. For 200K, we'd be at 18K. If we're at the all-time high at 9%. Now, if we get completely re-rated into payment systems and stuff like that, then game on, right? Game on. Could get up to 25%, which if Bitcoin was at $1 million, we'd be at 250,000. That's where you get that longer-term view over the next 10 years. So going to be pretty crazy. We also know that the Ethereum Foundation and stuff are looking at ways of further deflation in the Ethereum inflation. Remember, it's under EIP 159. Obviously, you need a decent amount of volume for that too. to be net burning, and so that's another issue that's being looked at to kind of squeeze that out. We'll see how that goes, and also block space, right? How they're going to allocate block space in the future. We may get some innovations around that too. So definitely, the ETH Foundation does have a role in trying to underpin further value, and it's something that Richard Hart's talked about a lot, right? Focused on value, and he's been right every time, right? Been right every time on that, despite Polestar being down, right? He doesn't control the Ethereum, and he just can only tell them that they're being idiots for focusing on the wrong thing, which they were, right? So 1591, and let's see where we go. Now, the other big thing, of course, for Ethereum is Tom Lee's indicated that DATs are going to now financially support leading projects coming out of the ETH Foundation. ETH Foundation is going to focus its role on the value of Ethereum network and projects that are supportive of that and the upgrades. And of course, Pulse Chain gets to choose, pick and choose those two. And of course, one of those key ones is quantum protection targeting 2029. So we'll see all that plays, and we've got an upgrade coming up soon, right? All right, so that's kind of the play. We'll keep a lookout for that, but that is the Ethereum picture at the moment. So a really nice entry zone, arguably based on history and with the forward view of finance and mass adoption and updates from the ETH Foundation, supported by the digital asset treasuries and Tom Lee as a leader of the Ethereum blockchain there, and a perfect combo because he's expert in capital markets and stock market as well as crypto. So he has a perma bull, so you have to moderate his expectations, sometimes the predictions, but he's been pretty good on average with most of the calls. Definitely been off with this year with the bottom of the bear market. Because obviously we've got crypto winter still here, but is the June the end? And then we, maybe it's just a month too early, maybe 2 months too early, and then we're on the way up there to crypto spring, truly crypto spring. All right, and then a good summer, right? Good summer coming up. That is Ethereum. Let's get into Pulse Chain. And before we do that, I was gonna talk about some in the Ethereum section, but we're gonna actually do it with the Pulse Chain section. We're gonna talk about tokenization because obviously we've got mega themes. We've got 4 mega themes. We've got stable coins. We've got tokenization, which is probably the big one, right, for Ethereum. And then the other big one is AI, right? AI agents, AI payments on Ethereum and other blockchains. And then, of course, I would say another big one is creator payments as well. But let's have a look at Pulse Chain. We'll get to all that with the updates. Now, Pulse Chain is a full system state fork of Ethereum. It was forked on the 10th of May 2023. A couple of days later, on the 13th of May 2023, it launched. There has been essentially in price discovery for over 3 years. It's had a lot of black swan and grey swan events. It also had the SEC targeting it for over 2 years just after it launched. They were defeated by Richard Hart and a super team of lawyers. And here we are today, right? We also had some, arguably flaws with the sacrifice set, had a large sacrifice set holder, and a lot of those have sold. We've also had and rotated, do rotation to the crypto majors and upcoming AI and other projects. We also have obviously some bad contracts that copied over, particularly large ones that had liquidity in them. A lot of those had some form of exploitation or taken advantage of. Liquidity was drained from the chain. We've also obviously from day one had a lot of bot activity. And so we had a lot of these things play out. So eventually, I think a lot of those things are probably, much calmer. We just saw a hex whale just overnight. So we always get some whale, PulseX whale or ink whale or a hex whale. We saw another hex whale sell out a lot into ETH, was it yesterday? So we're still getting plagued a little bit with this. Obviously, with the market sentiment down so much, Bitcoin's made contraction. That created another heavy weight on the chain. It was holding up pretty well, but once you get somebody large capitulate, then down we go. So there's a few things going on there with the chain. But I think we're getting there. And we're pretty close. We're going to look at the Pulse chart, but we're also going to talk about the fact that we've got some really high quality DeFi rolling out on the chain, and it's kind of exciting. And the more of that we get, the better. And I think we've got an exciting roadmap moving forward with a lot of decent teams building. And then it's responsibility of we're in DeFi, so there's no responsibility. It's essentially, right? It's a bit like the Wild West. But if we want a more mature chain, then more people on Pulse Chain need to invest better. They need to focus on the better projects. And even if we have a lot of this pump and dumpers, we still need to get a more mature chain where people are following value. and hopefully that happens. Hopefully it happens. It's not inevitable, but the more mature that has, the more stable value will be created on chain. So there's a bit of that going on too. And obviously you have to grow the number of users and forms of capital flowing into the chain. But you've got to have great products that people want to come and use. And I think that we're getting a lift in that on the chain. We're going to talk about those later on. So Pulse Chain is 1,121 days since the launch on 30th of May 2023. We've got Pulse price at the moment is at 506357. We're down 2.5%. Hex on Pulse Chain has finally broken at 2. It was holding off pretty much around 1100th of a penny. It is now at 9,000, 1100, yeah, 9,000th of a penny, down a whopping 14% with the big Hex whale having a little good old dump fest and, of course, taking some ETH out from the looks of it, down 14%. So Hex on Pulse Chain is, well, you can't argue it's a much friendly price to pick up. But here we are at 000941. Can you believe it? Can you believe it? Now, Hex has, it's obviously Richard Heart core coin. It was one of the 4 or 5 best coins in the last bull market when we didn't have millions of coins. It was a first certificate of deposit. It was supercharged, had different features to supercharge the yield. It did a 10,000x, had 13 parabolic rises in 2021. It had a lot of cool stuff going, right? It is got a cool yield setup. It's got a cool share setup, T shares and everything else. It's got one of the, it still got a big community and still got a lot of, people that are sleepers out there. And, it's been, kind of burning off there. And of course, we've got a couple of people that cover Hex quite well. We've got Crispy Man and we've also got Ben Sierra. They're kind of our 2 quants that cover Hex in detail. They do live streams and reports and things. Big shout out to them. But of course, if a whale's going to sell on thin liquidity, down it goes, and down 40% it is at the moment. So is it, is it finally the bottom? We'll see. We'll see what happens. The market's going to decide. Then another whale out there wants to do some dump fest at super low prices and thin liquidity. I don't know, but liquidity's down 1.1 million there on the main peers. And so that's kind of where we are. And maybe it's rotation, right? Maybe they think, Ethereum's so cheap now. Maybe Ethereum, because we just showed that Ethereum's at the bottom, that we get rotation, even at the bottom of Pulse Chain, still get rotation. And maybe we're still waiting for the market to go, well, actually, Pulse Chain's a better bet. We'll see. We'll see how that battle goes. It's a battle of the minds. And so a better bet because thinner liquidity, easy to move to the upside if a market maker comes in, right? So we'll see what happens there. And obviously, we've got good DeFi rolling out. ProveX at the moment, sitting at 4.035. It is essentially flat today. We got PulseX at the moment is at 5.05 something. I don't have the exact price there, but can I hit that? No, I can't. That's down 7.65%. So PulseX getting hit as well. Then we've got Ink Token at 27 cents, down 5.7%. So, PulseX Ink down a fair amount there. Pulse only down 2%. And X is the big loser today with the old whale there. We got Yellowtail in the house there. Holla. Hey, great to see you, Yellowtail. Welcome to the live stream. I've got to keep track of time here as well because I was supposed to be doing some other good things too. Yellow says, good chance for the little guy to get a bag. Definitely of Hex today, that's for sure. What a great price that is, OMG. All right, so let's jump over to that. Now, what I was going to say about Hex is that even though it's got all those good properties with it, good, setup, there's a lot of yield products out now. There's a lot of innovation now. We're in another whole era of innovation, and that's probably the biggest challenge to Hex in my view. All those other things are all bullish, and the price is obviously great, but there are a lot of high yield products out there now, and so it's got to compete with that. And obviously, if the price recovers, then yield goes up. So we'll see what happens in that space. And obviously, it's got thin liquidity, up it goes. It's got Richard Heart out there potentially, Magic Cup Ride stuff. Who knows? So we'll see. But remember, there are now essentially 5 coins on Pulse and 1 coin on Ethereum, which is EHEX, right? All right, so that is the play. Let's jump over to the Valos. Valos right now, we're sitting on 49,257. So that's pretty much stable over the last sort of 10 days. Let's go to the gas prices. We're at 481,000 beats, so very much on the low side, but we did have a spike. We did have a big spike up to 60 million beats. What the hell? Let me know in the chat there if you guys were trying to do something during that spike and you got a bit of surprise. 60 million beats. So what's that? It's 120 times higher than our normal beats there, or Gwei. We've got the price at the moment, 72 pulse for a PulseX swap, sitting at 0.000459 on the old price of 4,000 of a penny for a PulseX swap. Pretty cheap. Let's go over to the final stats. Where we going? We're done Bridge. Bridge is our last one we do, right? That's our last one. I have to remind myself. So we're at 48.08 million. I think we're at the all-time low. We are. We're at all-time low. No, your all-time low is yesterday, guys. So 47.72. So we're actually up a little bit. Today. Yeah, net flow 252k. Hooray! That's some good news. So even though all the pulse chain stuff's down and that the majors are slightly green today, a Bridge is up. Bridge is up $250,000. So I don't know what happened to the ETH. The Hex whale did he move it? I don't know. I haven't followed it, but in any case, we're up. Wrapped ETH. Yeah, we did lose wrapped ETH. Look at that bridged out. I don't know if that's the whale. It probably is. But yeah, we lost 37 ETH there. So that's pretty much it for that. Let's jump into the liquidity, which is a new category I bought in because I think it's really interesting. And that is what's the big volume today? Let's go to that. Let's refresh. So Pulse Chain apparently has done $5.4 million in volume today. It might be down to almost 10% for the week, which is better than Bitcoin and Ethereum. And of course, it was holding up pretty well from Monday to Wednesday, wasn't it? But it is down 2.6% today. Hex on Pulse Chain, PHEX with the big whale sell, pushed us to $2 million in volume, which is, and the volume's great. It's just unfortunately the price is in the wrong direction, right? We're at down 18% for the week, 14% in the last 24 hours, so most of that last 24 hours. Wrapped ETH from Ethereum is 1.27 million volume, down 21%, of course, for ETH, but up 1% today, so we got a bit of green candles for the old ETH. PulseX is 855k, so we've got three coins doing, three tokens doing over $1 million, which is great to see. Shame it's now in the negative for the most part. PulseX there, 855k, down 40% for the week, 4% today. Hex from Ethereum there at 573k, down 14%, but it's down 6% today. ProveX 451k, 22% down for the week, 1% down today. PDI, which has been obviously one of our top performers, has been pushed all the way down to number 7. It's typically been like number 4, 3, or 2. It is down number 7 here with those big moves. 436k volume is actually up, still up 7.8% for the week, but down 6% today. Ink token at number 8, 295k for the volume, down 16% for the week, 4% today. Wrap Bitcoin, a fork coin, right? A fork coin on Pulse Chain. Oh, no, sorry, this is not the fork one. This is the wrap one imported from Ethereum. That is 154k, 16% down today. And, of course, following Bitcoin, but up 1% right now. PCock is 142k, so that's good news for PCock. We're going to talk about PCock, obviously representing Liberty Swap and, arguably one of the best coins that we could move to the upside, maybe even a meme coin that could hit $1 billion at some stage. We'll see. Obviously, you need diamond hands and a lot of value added. But that is pretty much flat for the week, down 6.7% today. And that is at 142k. Wrap Bitcoin. So this is the fork one, right? So this is the P Wrap Bitcoin. It's down 1% for the week. So doing very different from the actual Bitcoin. And it is down 7.6% today. So it's actually up for the week until today. 104,000. So we've got 11 pairs, guys, over 100k. 3 pairs over $1 million. And that's even though we got a down market, the volume uplift is very pleasant. And of course, a lot more fees, right? A lot more fees for the protocols. And of course, we've been talking about that too. So let's go to the pulse chart quickly. How are we doing for time? I was expecting to do like a 30-minute stream, and here we're up to 58 minutes. I'm going to keep this real quick. But we had 11 weeks that we were fighting to hold the 7,000 mark. And maybe we would have done it. Probably would. We were a bit weak in the last couple of weeks, but maybe we would have stayed at 7K. And then, Bitcoin went down 17%, ETH down 23 or 4%, whatever it was. And how could we hold up? It was pretty difficult, right? And then we capitulated as well this week. So not much you can do about that. You can see, we're holding up earlier in the week, and then we capitulated. We're kind of green today. But we got to a new all-time low of 6,040. Now, I did talk to about the bear scenario of 5,500. We didn't quite get down to there yet, but 6,040 is definitely a breakdown from 70. So we did break down that fight. Are we going to get back up and have another go? That was going to be a second round fight, I don't know. But we've still got all these same, catalysts as the crypto majors. We always can still, even with low liquidity on the pulse chain, which would generally suggest to the upside, we can always get a whale like we saw today, sell the hex down and take some of that small liquidity and rotate it potentially into ETH and some of the others. So because they're all cheap, right? They're all cheap, as we talked about, back down on power law, etc. So 63.60 is where we are right now. So we've come up a little bit from the bottom. The RSI is oversold. As you can see, we're bouncing off the oversold on the daily at 30, and more importantly on the weekly, we are pretty much at 30, right? Just on the tip of that 30, which is oversold. So we've still got the narrative there. How long is this going to be? Are we going to get back up? And our next target is still the same. Still got to get back to 1,200 and then 1,700, bounce down to 1,200 on profit taking and then up. So no really changed there. So obviously thinner liquidity now, easier to move. Does the proposition of pulse chains a better bet than the rotation into cheap assets? Is that going to win the day, or will we still take several weeks or even a few months to go? Even despite the good news in crypto, if that does occur from July onwards, as I've indicated, we could possibly get a lot of good things. A lot of headwinds have to go in our way. Obviously, the Clarity Act and all that sort of stuff have to head in the right direction. Interest rates, money management has to head in the right direction. But we've got a lot of the right leaders that are leading us in that category, right? That are pushing that through, from Lamas to Chairman Wash and stuff like that. So we've got the right people in the right places. So probably is in favor, 60%, let's say, against. All right, so that is pulse chain right now. Let's keep a lookout, but super cheap to buy $1 billion. If you want to buy $1 billion a pulse right now, you've back in the sacrifice day, it would cost you around about 85K, depending on your multiplier and all that sort of stuff. But 85, around about that, maybe up to 90 possibly for $1 billion pulse. You can now get that for 6,300. Yesterday, during the all-time low, you could get that for $6,040, $1 billion. Previously, it would have cost you 65 to 90K, and now you can get it for 63,000. So how the world has changed. Pulse is cheap, and let's see whether people buy the bottom and form the bottom. We're going to see. 11 weeks was a good go. It was definitely different formation, different structure, but it's hard to fight that big Bitcoin sell-off and rotation. We got a hex rotation today. We'll see what happens. Is this the dip? Is the low in at 6K? Is the Bitcoin event the low? The power law giving us some protection, and up we go. We've certainly got good DeFi rolling out. We're going to talk about that next. All right, so let's look at the pulse chain trending here, top 100 trending. As you guys know, we do this every day. Good thing. Volume is up 8.5 million, and guess who makes money with volume? The DEXs and DEX aggregators, right? Particularly DEXs, there making a lot of money with that, and of course, people that provide LP. Now, obviously, they have other challenges like impairment loss, depending what pairs they're in, but essentially, it's a more profitable business. We were doing a pretty lousy amount of volume. We were doing like 2.2 million to 3.3 million. That was kind of our bottom feeder kind of volume. We've had a couple of better days with the bad news, because volume's gone up to 8.8 million. So some of the DEXs and aggregators and that doing better business, LP providers earning more fees because volume has been higher on more days. Like, I think yesterday was 6 million. I think we had 8 million the day before or something. We're at 8.5 million now. So we're almost 2.5 times, probably about 2.5 times what we were doing, which is a lot extra fees and value there, particularly if you're in V3 pools, or if you're in optimized liquid management pools like SwitchX, could have been quite profitable. Now, there are other variables, of course, with the underlying coins that you might be holding, but that's definitely better. Now, top performer today, Staked ETH is up 14%. RX Pepe, a recent meme over the last month, up 7% there. Now, the big news, of course, is the big project PGC The Grays, one of our biggest communities. Got a lot of influence support. B Roots, Moon King, I think, obviously Prairie Banana, many others out there, and one of our biggest communities, right? PGC The Grays, they're up 4.8%. Is our first DAO token on Pulse Chain. Let's have a look at the Pulse pair to see how that's performing. And we can see at the moment it's at 407,000. So obviously at a pretty critical line. In fact, it looked like it was going to breach down this week and go to break down, because it's technically at a lower low, right? Technically reached a lower low. Look at the daily chart there. It got down to 4058.78, which is arguably a lower low, and that would generally suggest a cascade, a breakdown. That may still happen. It may not be out of the woods, but certainly bounced here on the daily. and the RSI kind of friendly, and it's come back up to 407. So a little bit of defense there on the old PGC the Greys. I'm not sure what any of the particular mechanisms helping with that, but a little pickup in volume. And that is PGC the Greys. So ticking away. There we go. What else can you say? Let's go to the weekly chart. There's the weekly chart there. So yeah, it's got to really hold this 7,000 line. So you're going to want to see confirmation here that go up higher, right? And definitely breach out, have a good little run there, maybe breach out 9,200. I don't know if it's going to lose a zero anytime soon. It's back up here, but certainly, if it did continue to move to 92, that would be a good sign of a breach line. That's 30%. And if it breached that and got up to losing a zero back to 0001, that's a 45% gain. So, if the community or the net buyers can do that, that will save the bacon. Otherwise, it could go down, down, down. And, maybe the next level is at 5,000. So that wouldn't be too great if it continued to break down. So let me see there. 5,000, that seems about right on the horizontal, 25% down. Something like that. So we'll see how it goes. But that is doing great today. The leading team, I'd say. What else there? Pulse Guy tied into the quad factor for PCock, up 4%. Apine Pulse up 3%. Source Aluminium, the big food producer in Europe with the healthy food, 2.6%, sitting at just under 4 cents. UFO sort of picked up there with the UFO ink pair. That's often does that. And then we've got Provex up slightly, is up 0.1% there, sitting at 3,500. So, let's have a quick look at that. Provex, you can see it's kind of bounced off. We had a big wick on Monday, was it? That was down at 3,000, let's say, rounding. Now it's 3,500 now. So it's gone from 3,000 to 3,500. Let's see if that was the bottom. We'll see. Obviously, there's some updates and innovations happening, particularly around ID on Provex, so technology adding more applications. Kind of cool. And then we've got Omega DAO, which is kind of cool from Cabal King. And I think this is Kairos with technology provider. And that is giving you hex, earning hex from that, right? So that's kind of cool. I think that was Kairos. It might be Nexion. I always get confused between the different ones, but that is 00026 right now, holding up pretty well. Pulse ratio is sitting at 42, so down a bit there, but holding the last couple of days. So those are the leaders today. That's obviously earning hex at number 14. Everything else is in the red. And the biggest losers today, I say that, I say it with love. P-Mint there with the old PDI supporting project down 17.6%, and I guess ZKP is a PDI. No, that's a Prevex. So that's Prevex. That's interesting. You'd think that this would be up, given that Prevex is up slightly, but it's down at the moment. Pulse ratio on the daily, this will look is still. I mean, it's had a big violent week this week because of, it's been a violent week with Bitcoin, but it's sitting at 40. So it got down to 31. Back at 40, and it's had a high this week of 68. What a massive volatility there. But Prevex is up, so maybe it will have a nice recovery there on the old Prevex there. That's definitely from Kairos there, the zero printer, doing a great job, first mover. SCADA from Net Supply down 15%. Obviously, Hex is down on the big Hex whale. World's Greatest PDI printer, which has been giving out great yield, that's down 12%, but sitting at 54 cents. Let's have a quick look at that because that's been pretty interesting, isn't it? As a leading printer. Let's go look at the yield that's currently ticking. Obviously, it's a lot cheaper. It was 75 cents the other day, 85 cents, down to 54 now. Let's see what the yield is. It has got 14K that's been paid out over the last 24 hours, 10.23% yield per week, 1.7% 24 hour, 4.5% in 3 days. Pretty amazing. Now, the key, of course, is the yield stays up, right? This turnover stays up. So even though you got down, where will the price go? So it could be a good opportunity to enter. Not financial advice, of course, high risk return speculation in the old printers, but it's been pretty interesting year. All right, I think that's it. We obviously got others that are down. Halgo on a Hex derivative. Ethos, of course, one of our other leading DeFis there. That's another PDI project, isn't it? That's down 7.8% for Cabal King. I think that is Nexion. It's a technology. Gizmo down 9.4%, etc. And then Most Wonder, one of our top memes, down 7.8%. So that's pretty much it. PCock sitting at 95, is it? 95 hundredth of a penny. So just below 1 cent. Was over a cent yesterday. And that is pretty much there. So we're going to go in and have a look at the news on the things. So we're up to now in 10 minutes. What happened to my half an hour live show? What happened, guys? We got Tin Top in the house there. What's up? Excellent. Good to see Tin Top. So if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. If you enjoying the content, don't forget to repost on X. Hit the repost button there. It's easy to do. But of course, we're covering all the knowledge of Pulse Chain in depth, essentially, in depth at a big overview level. All right, something like that. All right, a broad brush. All right, so this is big news coming up. So I've saved this for the end. Ethereum and Pulse Chain, both going to benefit from tokenization, and this is huge. So I said you good DeFi is coming. So the value is not representing it, but we're on takeoff time for tokenization. We're only at 32 billion, which is a massive re-rate because it started from almost nothing, and now we're up 33 billion, and it's going to climb. We're expecting potentially a trillion plus by next year, mid next year. I'm talking about this is fast, going to re-rate. So imagine going from 32 billion into trillion plus in a year's time. It's going to be massive. We could be underplaying. It could be even bigger, right? So keep a lookout for that. We've got so many good protocols launching on the heels of this. Tokenization leaders rolling out big things next week, and of course. One of them is Ondos. As you guys know, Ondos, essentially, we've got main players are kind of like Ondos, Securitize, X stocks. Obviously, we've got a lot of application layers there, like Kraken and Robinhood, right? So you get the idea. These are kind of the leading players at the moment. There are a couple of big traditional, big banking type players that might try to enter the market there, obviously, because they know how lucrative it is and they've got big client lists. So going to be interesting. But at the moment, Ondo is kind of killing it, crushing it. And not only have they got tokenization trading where you can trade stocks and other things, they're still relatively small. I mean, they've got a lot of the leader ones, but they're still small. You can trade even strategy and stretch and stuff like that. But they're going to blow up. So they might start with a couple hundred, which they've got now, maybe 250, and then they'll have thousands by the end of the year. At the moment, of course, which means you can trade all the stocks and commodities, ETFs, preferred equity, etc. Well, they're going to be launching perpetuals. So you're going to be able to do perpetuals on the 9th of June. So that is coming up for Tuesday. Tuesday coming up. So this is a big deal. And we're going to see some pretty big action there. Obviously, coming into the space that Hyperliquid is operating and booming on. So Ondo coming out now, they're going to have something pretty unique. They're going to be able to leverage on your tokenized assets. So they've got tokenization platform. You're going to be able to take those assets and leverage on them up to 20x leverage. Going to be pretty big there. And of course, it's going to be open not just during normal trading hours, but apparently 24/7. So you're going to be able to trade a lot of those stocks. It'll be interesting to see how that all works for every asset. But game changer there. So a lot in that one sentence. The other big thing that's launching, of course, is X stocks and Kraken. They're going to have their first tokenized IPO, and that is the massive SpaceX, 1.71 to $2 trillion. That's going to be on June. Of course, the ticker for SpaceX is going to be SPCX. But of course, because the X stock's got a little X at the end, right? So SPCXX, and that's going to be trading as well with X stocks. Pretty big deal, and of course, supported with NASDAQ, right? So big deal there. And of course, look, new entrant, guys, Liberty Swap. Now, Liberty Swap is going to be launching a HyperMarket that's going to be on Pulse Chain and arguably multi-chain, right? So you're going to be able to take capital from either chains. Obviously, the fees benefits will come back to Pulse Chain. And of course, PCock gets the benefit with more buy and burn income. In addition to all the other stuff they're going, Liberty's Bridge, Liberty Swap, Liberty Dex, Liberty Pools, right? Liberty everything, man, because these guys are going to have, I don't know, 20 DeFi hookins by the end of the year, right? So just keep a lookout for that, at least by mid next year. So Liberty HyperMarket is June the 26th. They're going to be launching that this week before the World Cup Soccer. Now, HyperMarket is essentially a prediction / outcome market. And so that's pretty cool. It's going to be using Hyperliquid's technology. It's a double win because they're going to benefit from earning fees from Hyperliquid, but they're also going to benefit from the trading volume Hypermarket and the fees from that too. So it's a double win for the old Liberty Swap. And this is what I wanted to see. I was dreaming of seeing this, and Liberty Swap are doing it. So I'm so excited. I'd like to see a couple more teams on Pulse Chain, start really networking with some of these big platforms using their technology through the foundations and other things. Obviously, we know Tom Lee's coming up with the Digital Asset Treasury Supportive ETH Foundation. I think there's a lot of opportunities there, not only for Liberty Swap, which is already obviously moving and doing that, but a few of the other clever teams that we've got. We're thinking about Brandon out there doing SwitchX Fly, which is amazing. Maybe Fastall moves from Liquidity Forks into doing some of that too. Obviously, KG from Internet Money can do that sort of thing with his team. There's a number of other teams on the chain and individual superstars like maybe Jacob or someone like that, Stu, that could get into doing these sort of things and just building it out even bigger and bigger. But LibertySwap is doing a huge stuff, and they're going to bring it all from looks at over the next year or two. So HyperMarket is launching, big deal. LibertySwap, Liberty Spot and Perpetuals is also coming. So like Ondo Perpetuals and Hyperliquid, Liberty Spot and Perpetuals are coming, and so you're going to be able to trade not only crypto on Pulse Chain, but stocks and commodities, and that usually could include, I guess, ETFs and preferred equities and things like that. So you're going to have it all in your wallet, guys, on Pulse Chain. You want to get Nvidia, you want to get Tesla, you want to get SpaceX, you want to get Dell, you want to get some quantum computer company in Canada. It's going to be potentially available. So I'm not sure how many tokens they'll be listing. Maybe they'll be listing as many as Hyperliquid Scott, arguably using the same technology. So pretty big deal. More foundation income, arguably as well. We'll see, and more fees and buy and burn for PCock. So this is how you build out the frontier DeFi and build value into Pulse Chain, and of course, particularly into PCock. But of course, it routes through Pulse Chain a lot of the time. And of course, we have seen some big stuff happening there. Pretty awesome. Pretty exciting. So awesome stuff happening there. That is coming up there. So I had to highlight that. I get questions there. I've been focusing on, I do a lot of general coverage of Pulse Chain. Obviously, whoever's still brings some heavyweight stuff, I normally cover that. But we also cover a lot of other categories on Pulse Chain. A lot of our innovative devs, medium to small size projects, also doing great stuff, all the way from Neat to Supply, all the way up to Emmett Farms, all the way up to all the way up to sorry, what am I trying to say here? All the way up to LibertySwap. So all the range there, from small, medium to large players that we've been covering. All right, so that is exciting news, guys. Exciting news. Now, I did want to zoom a bit more in on LibertySwap because obviously I've been talking about that a bit, but it's pretty cool. They did have another big update, and I just want to go down to that quickly. So let me just scroll down there. Really loving these people like Freedom and Crypto Coffee and others, setting up example wallets for ZKX wallet. Very exciting to see that. I think that's really cool. And just demoing, how the wallet's working and stuff like that. We talked about, LibertySwap is getting in with, Hyperliquid, but they're also, doing deals with, Keystone Hardware, right? They've got 63,000 followers. These are all new people getting aware of Pulse Chain. So, I think a lot of our fundamentals are growing real nicely, and we're getting a lot more wider, awareness going on. And then we're getting partnerships, Keystone 3 Pro just fixed that with ZKX Wallet, so from Liberty. And that's kind of cool. A lot of people complaining about wallets. Obviously, what Internet Money does a great job. It's got, a lot of people love that. They've had over 180,000 downloads. It's got a lot of great tech in there, even Bitcoin. But we need a few options. And everyone obviously liked the Rabi wallet, and now we're getting upgraded Rabi wallets, right? So we're getting ZKX with privacy and doing all the other stuff. It's going to have everything, lending, swapping, shielding, you name it. It's all going to have it packed full of goodness. All the dApps there, safety, security, everything they possibly can put into it. Intent-based trading. I mean, you name it. It's game on, right? Now they're going to have perpetuals and spots and everything else. I mean, it's just going to be chock full of all the best of that crypto has to offer. And of course, remember, they're a bridge, so there's got a river flow of capital flowing in and out. Isn't that beautiful? So it's a very, very powerful combination. Really cool. And making partnerships and doing deals with big players like Keystone Wallet and other bigger players, up and even bigger than that. But this is all good. So the team's working hard there. Now they put this out. This is not really what I was going to talk about, but I got to do it because I made a comment about it. And I'm gambling on it anyway, or gas bagging on it. So they put this out around the the wallet here with privacy. This is the privacy section. It goes, once you click from public, private got this little gold thing, and I love that when I saw it, and I saw the old PCock, so I couldn't resist, guys. I went down and I put my own one in there. I used a little bit of AI, and I got PCock gold in there. What do you guys reckon? Look, it looks badass. Eh? PCock gold. So I got the old gold there. Now, whatever that could be, it was just off the cuff there because I was just kind of inspired on the moment. You know how it is. And I go, be cool to get drip PCock gold in the wallet. Wouldn't it be? That would be kind of cool though. And especially it was kind of dynamic, like stripping gold in there. I don't know. That's kind of feel like that'd be cool. Like every time you open a wallet, it's got this little dynamic. You got the gold. That'd be cool, kind of cool. And a wallet PCock for you just using the wallet or loyalty or referral. Now they could fund it different ways. They've got lots of different ways they could fund that. Use loyalty, referral, or something PCock back centralized stablecoin, right? Because they keep talking about this decentralized stablecoin. Now, obviously, when you're going to do that, you want some liquidity and enough category. But actually having a relatively limited amount, it may end up being quite good for decentralized stablecoin. I don't know where that's where they're going to be heading because they keep talking about one. And I certainly don't think it's going to be PDI. PDI has high volume, so that might be something that attracts them. They're certainly in good fees from PDI volume, I'd suggest. But it's it definitely would favor PCock because that's the official coin. Will make a lot of sense. Anyway, I got PCock gold to $1. As somebody would say, 100x to go. Obviously at 1 cent, $1. Wait, what next? And then of course I put that. I couldn't help it. It was just too much to resist. PCock gold looks great. Whatever. I don't even know if they're going to ever do that, but I couldn't help myself. All right, so there we go. Let's move on because digress. Now let me just quickly go because I want to look at another update they did. This is with the wallet itself. Maybe I should have just gone to the wallet. Who else is this here? Yeah, ZK. Let me just scroll back down. Maybe I have to go to the wallet itself. Should we go to the wallet itself? Maybe I should. Let's go to wallet. I think that's where the update was. Let's scroll down here. I know it's getting a little bit dizzy with the scrolling, but we'll get there. The update. Here it is here. We have just released ZKX wallet version 0.0.38. I did talk about this briefly, I think, yesterday. But this is really cool, right? So nice, lot of updates, highlights hardware wallet support with Keystone, Railgun privacy upgrades, great performance and UI upgrades, and bug fixes as well. So kind of cool. And it's a great wallet. So looking forward to that. Thanks for the ultra support fast team as well. So they obviously they're interacting with Keystone, and Keystone saying that they're a great team to interact with. So that's really really positive too. All right, so good stuff happening there, folks, on that front. Now I'm going to quickly go to Brandon because Brandon obviously has been doing SwitchXFi, and these are some of the big projects, right? So very important projects, and they're benefiting from this higher volume, 8.8 million. Now, no updates from him at the moment. Obviously, last updates were adding a few switch farms, but we're going to go quickly look at SwitchXFi. So let me just go do that. So we're going to go look at SwitchXFi. Now, these obviously we've had Liberty Pools, which is V3 from Liberty Swap, and we've had SwitchXFi. So obviously SwitchX has been a DEX aggregator, amazing, going through lots of different DEXs, and they launched SwitchXFi, which also now is routed through SwitchX as well. But this is from Brandon. It's V4 DEX, right, for V4 AMM. But the really key thing is it has automated farms, right? So it means you don't have to be super clever at farming. It will do all the work for you, right? It will, based on what's happening in the markets, will move your position within, I think, a few hours, right, into the better position. So keeping you on the high yield play out. And that's why, early days, it's got high APR yields if you're in that kind of zone, several thousands of percent can be quite lucrative. Now, I wanted to quickly look at the results at the moment. We're not going through the whole protocol at the moment, but 272K lock value. Now, we're going to be looking for that to increase. Now, one of the things they've got obviously is the inflation adjustment, and I can't blame them too much with that because the first couple of months are always tricky when you got inflation for the first year before you get to the halving. It's 2.5 years inflation. Remember, 970 million coins over that 2.5 year period. And so, 272K, they had to lock. I think the locking probably lost them a little bit of capital when they moved it from 50 to 75 in the switch pools, and in the non-switch pools, they moved from 75 to 95. But because it forced long-term ownership, and some people just like the yield to sell. So it's sort of, you got those issues, and you got the issues between non-switch and switch, selling down on. So you got a lot of issues there. But they got a volume benefit from that 8.8 million overnight, and they're up at $304,000 and this is exactly what you want to see on Switch, SwitchFi. So that's up 46%. And so that's what I'm saying, like even though prices were down a bit, particularly for Hex, obviously, the volume capture was great, 46% on the old Dex there. And of course, these are the two new Dexes, right? We have Pulse X 9mm. We have obviously the Balancer Fork still operating, doing decent volume, PHUX. And then, although the token's gone, I've got to go back and look at that. But we've got these two new Dexes, which is fantastic because you guys know I was hopping on about us needing at least up to half a dozen could operate. And why not launch at this time at the bottom of the market? So we're 305K, so up 45. So great stuff there. Looking very, very cool. All right, so good stuff happening there. And if we go to the charts here, we see that it's been around for over a month, right? Just over a month, about a month, let's say. And you can see the volume there, TVL picking up. Peak TVL was 413, but they did those locking changes, right? That's why I think they were impacted by that. But let's go to the monthly there. You can see that the volumes has gone up. So we're, exclude the first day. We started off on the 15th of May at 29K. It's had some ups and downs, but look at that volume yesterday. What a big volume catcher, 315K. And that's got to lift the fees a lot. Yeah, the fees have gone up quite a bit there. So, the 24-hour revenue over 1,100 now, trading fees 400, total protocol revenue 4,500 there. Pretty awesome. Total volume now 2.9 million, and I guess it's total fees there 3,600. So, that's what you want to see, more of that, and we'll keep a lookout. It's kind of cool. But doing pretty well on that one. Now let's quickly look at this. I'm just gasping now, but we got 4 minutes. So I'm going to finish it. We're going to cover Liberty pools, right? So we're going to go to Liberty Swap Finance, and we're going to go to Liberty pools. If you're not aware, that's now here. So you click that pools part there. It's going to take you to pool.libertyswap.finance /Liberty/pools. And what I want to do is highlight that these guys have been ramping this up. This has been ramping up. Look at this thing. It's been going up and away. Obviously, we've got gas money with Pulse Chain, 46K, 48K liquidity now. USDC PCock, 42K liquidity. USDC DAI, 15. Keep a lookout for these. This is only, day 10, I think, since it's launched, and only 3 days since Patias started routing through. So they've got all that, got 50% plus increase in volume, and obviously over the last 24 hours it would have been really good. Obviously we saw almost a 50% uplift for SwitchXFi, and PCock, but the TVL's growing really nice, right? So TVL there, PCock is up almost 10K, PCock Privacy 10K, and EDC there is one of the Maximus protocols that is 7.5 for Hex. PDI PCock 7.5, PCock 0 5K there, and then you got others that are all around 5K. Rage, PDI, Pulse, etc. So some good stuff happening there with the TVLs. Now remember, there's a V3, so you can get you as an LP provider. If you're in a team, for example, and you want to set up LP, if you're paired to PCock already, then you can set up the 1% fee. 80% will go back to you on trading volumes, and then the other 20% will go to buy, or 10% buy and PCock, 10% to buy in treasury. Now this is what they were doing. They were talking about 100% recently. I don't know whether that's applied to this as well, but that's basically 20% going to support PCock in some way, and liquidity pools. So pretty cool stuff. Let's have a quick look at the volumes. They are going to have some global stats soon, so that's going to be showing up. But if we go to the volumes there, we can see that huge lift in fees, of volume, I should say. So massive there, 43K, 15K, 15K, 10K. This is really cool. And it's only the beginning, right? So I'm suspecting this is going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And so it's going to be pretty fun to see this play out with the V3 there. So some good stuff happening there, guys, with the old Liberty Swap. And what else? Final comments on that. What am I going to say? I did a post on that too. So let's go have a look at that. I've been doing quite a few of these sort of data posts, but let's go down to the last one I did. And let's see. I did this TVL update. So I did my original update on the DEXs, all 5 DEXs, the main ones. And then I did the update just to SwitchFi. This is a day old now. What day is that? 5th of June, so 2 days old. But you can see that they were doing 155K 5K volume on SwitchXFi, and 68K volume on Liberty Swap, but that's probably all that's gone up, right? We saw that's almost doubled on today's volume, 8.8 mil. And the TVL is still pretty similar to pretty much the same. So that's gone up over 300K. So 2x in volume. That's awesome. This is bullish for Pulse Chain. Even with down markets, still the volume, more fees are earned, makes LP providing more lucrative, and therefore hopefully more LP will get provided, and it's just sort of a positive cycle there, positive flywheel. And I haven't added up Liberty pools, but they were doing 68K. But arguably that's probably doubled, right? Probably doubled to. I haven't got the TVL. I have to add it up manually. I have to, do special things there, but that's probably at least double, probably 120 or more. So maybe even more. And they've kind of indicated they're going to be doing more and more expansion of the TVL there. And of course, all those treasury reserves and fees and things not only support PCock, but arguably some of those supported PCock peers there. And you earn more fees with the trading volumes, right? And you have more, because it's a V9, you can have tranches as well to support that as well, buy tranches, sell tranches. And so on, and then you can route it through, Liberty Dex, which is their other product, right? The aggregator, and it's a win-win. And arguably, Petias picks them up, the volume up on Liberty pools, SwitchX pools picks it up. Maybe it's PortalX. I don't know how much volume that's doing anymore, but from Power City. But you got these other dexes like Curve and Squirrel, and the little ones out there, doing their job, and they're out there too. So we'll see what happens in that space. I hope you guys enjoyed it, folks. That was an hour and a half. It's supposed to be 30 minutes. Supposed to be 30 minutes, for goodness sake. Come on, governor. Keep to your time. I have been so bad the last week. I was supposed to be doing like maybe max hour and 15. Ended up doing like 2 hour streams, and here we are, 1.5 hour. But there's a lot of good stuff happening, right? And obviously we had a lot of drama in the Bitcoin market. You just got to bide yourself time. If you've been around for crypto a long time, these things go up and down like this. And it's a pretty big event, pretty violent, but it's good buying opportunity. And we look at the moving averages and whether we're buying at discount on those moving averages. If they're good value ahead. And you got to pick and choose. You still have to pick and choose the right assets. Have diversification, be on multiple chains. Have non-crypto stuff as well, arguably. AI and a bit of other stuff, obviously. But it's a lot of opportunity, and that's why we cover it all the way from commodities through to that. So kind of cool. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. We're going to try and bring more insights. I've got a couple of areas that I want to bring more insights from that we haven't really covered. So hopefully that's coming up soon too. Now, we've got the Monster Thread coming out tomorrow, guys. Monster Thread number 57 weeks. We're in our second year of publication as a professional publication, and it showcases all the hottest news from the community and DeFi space, and has a lot of honorable mentions as well. And that's been exciting. So yeah, typically 35 to 50,000 readers. We can't wait for a bull market when everyone comes back, because it's probably going to be even bigger. But it's a really fun thing to do, and great service to a lot of people. So the other big thing that we're doing coming up, of course, is I started off last week, but I'm going to do a lot of upgrades to that. So that was just my first one, just to get out of the gate. And as you just got to do it, right? Just do it and get out of the gate. Is that we got the midweek update for Pulse Chain publication, and that is covering DeFi and farms and lots of other cool things, all the cool stuff that's happening in the crypto space on Pulse Chain, and that will give us full week coverage essentially for projects and get a lot of awareness as well. So good stuff happening, guys. Good stuff happening. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and onwards and upwards there. All right, take care, everybody, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. Bye for now. Now, where am I going here? I'm going to the end. I'm going to go to the wardrobe, pick an outfit, and fly away. You guys know how it works. All right, take care. Subscribe, like, share, hit follow, repost, all the good stuff. See ya.